Welcome, everyone, to another review, this time a TV series that dropped on Netflix, The Midnight Gospel, a podcast series brought to life with the medium of animation from the minds that brought us Adventure Time, of all things. I'm joined with Todd.
Hello.
And Evan.
Hello.
And we're getting right into this. Todd, I'll let you go first, just sharing general thoughts of what you thought of this very fascinating show that dropped on Netflix.
So for me, this was actually pretty great because I love podcasts that interview people about interesting things that I don't know a lot about, even if I'm not a believer in any of those things. So it's interesting to hear people with passion talk about stuff. And I love the animation of Pendleton Ward. So these together just really work for me. So I loved it a lot. I thought it had a lot of interesting episodes. It made me laugh a lot, and it was a perfect drop for 420 also. So yeah.
Evan, what were general thoughts of Midnight Gospel for you?
Honestly, I really loved it because, a lot of the same things Todd said. I love podcasts. I don't think it's important to believe any of the stuff they're going over. Right. They go pretty deep into some weird areas of thought. And I think it's more about like what the main character might be going through. Yeah. Which it's just a lot of interesting things. It's a podcast of a guy that's playing a character, and everyone's also playing different characters. Just very creative. I think pretty much every episode has something really interesting in it. And a lot of just great animation moments, fun songs. And now after seeing the end, I've gone back through some of the beginning. And there's more of a through line than I thought through everything. And I don't know, I think it's pretty interesting, pretty jam-packed, fun to watch. Yeah.
I do really want to go back through it because after watching, not giving anything away, but after watching the last episode, it's like, oh, okay, there is like importance to this show, and that doesn't matter. It's still a fun show, but it's like, oh, there's definitely like some extra stuff I can get rewatching this.
Yeah, after the first halfway through, I was like, oh, so it's just random nonsense. That's fun. But it actually has a bit more going through.
Yeah.
The one thing I was sort of going to throw out that is what I find to be the biggest strength of this, I think on their own, if you take the podcast conversation and if you take the animation, you could watch the animation on its own. You could listen to the podcast on its own. And both would be entertaining in their own right. But as Todd and Evan were mentioning, they complement each other very well. And I think part of that is Pendleton just understands like quality animation to evoke a certain feel, like just even the difference in what's going on in the very first episode with what's actually happening in the animation sets the tone for, okay, well, they're going to talk about like these philosophy ideas, but there might be a zombie apocalypse going on.
Yeah.
Which I think they really I don't know, I think they just really stretched their brains to come up with a really interesting piece here. And I'm not gonna lie, I did not expect going in to be captivated at the end of this, but I walked away being like, oh my gosh, this was a delight, and that was a fantastic conclusion to the first season.
Yes.
Yeah. See, wait, the first season, you say?
I think there's going to be more seasons.
Really?
I would love that.
I would love that, but I feel like he's going to do something else that's very creative. I don't know. He doesn't seem like a guy who'll just stick to it.
Might be right. I don't know.
Although he did Adventure Time for plenty long, so.
I think it's just that this is doing decently well, and I feel like it's not like, because they have so much of actual real life podcast content from Duncan Trussell's podcast. I just feel like there's a lot of material there, but you might be right. It might be a one-off thing.
I don't know. Well, I guess we can get into the ending if we wanted to, but
Let me check if a season 2 has been in the works or anything.
I don't know. I'm just saying it seemed pretty definitive at the end.
Yeah, it would almost have to be an anthology series where they just start a whole new sort of storyline through, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
But they could easily do that.
Oh, for sure. I don't know if they've announced anything at the moment. But I know it's a really, again, if it ends with just one season, it's conclusive. Like,
Yeah.
it's just I've seen shows that are very good that only had one season that are conclusive, like get more seasons. I think
True
I don't know. Maybe it's me just being like, give me more of this.
I already do want to watch it again, so I'll hope there are more episodes. But yeah, I have a feeling it's a one-off.
This also made me, Todd, I know you're big on this show. This made me want to go back and rewatch Adventure Time all the way through.
Yeah, I love Adventure Time.
Oh.
I think it's a great through line, some of the stuff that they follow through. And so, yeah, it made me feel the same thing.
Yeah, Hayden, episode 5 reminded me of my favorite episode of Adventure Time. Do you remember which one I'm talking about?
No, what was the general yes.
The Hall of Egress. That one?
Yes.
Where he can't see anything and he just has to go through it again and again until he figures it out. Yeah, later Adventure Time, he seems to kind of play with these ideas. And I'm glad he can do more adult things and express them more often, I guess.
Yeah, and I guess while we're talking about it, it's weird because I feel like this sort of came out of nowhere and it was just like, hey, Midnight Gospel's happening. And it's like, oh, cool. Right. Whereas the guy that made regular show still hasn't released I forget what it's called.
Dude, that might be a TBS thing or something, because I swear they
I
probably
think
have
it's a TBS thing
at this point.
Yeah.
It's been like 2 years since we saw the trailer.
Yeah, I swear I was like excited for it and showed you the trailer, but that was so long ago at this point.
I think it's like Moving On, or I forget.
Yeah, you have to look it up. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, we can sort of do a little bit of a spoiler-ish thing on the last episode if y'all would like.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to talk about a couple of the episodes, so that'd be fun. Yep.
Right, yeah. So anybody that hasn't checked it out, I'm probably just going to include these as a pair. So if you're still listening to this review, we wholeheartedly endorse it if you haven't seen it. So definitely check it out. It's on Netflix. So if you have Netflix, right there for you. It's only 8 episodes. You can watch it if you just watch one a night, it's like a little chapter in a book. But we'll get right to it. Todd, what was the first thing you want to throw out?
Well, just that I love some of the specific storylines that they go through, and how creative they are. Like the zombie apocalypse of the first one is great, but there's just all these wonderful scenes. Like there's a great scene where these weird dog monsters are trying to rip apart clown babies, and like it's just all this. There's just all this bizarre stuff that's going on while they're talking about like fear of death and the importance of acknowledging death, and I really liked it. Yeah, that's one of the things that sticks out in my head. But I liked a lot of them. I like the Soul Prison episode that y'all are just kind of alluding to, where he interviews Jason the Soul Bird for. In place of a rabid space prisoner named Bob. Like I just like little details. I just like little details like that. Some of the interviews were great too.
Yeah, the one that I was going to throw out that I found myself really enjoying. It was this one's my girlfriend's favorite, who was watching it with me. She loved The Hunters Without a Home, just because they have an underwater planet, but they also have like cat pirates. Which are really cute, and like just a almost like a throw off joke, but like decently well thought out, that it ends up being like a good laugh several times. One that I was actually going to throw out is there's this one called Vulture with Honor. where he basically sees a meditation guru, and it's weird because it's one of those things where Clancy does not believe in any of this, and I think we're in a similar boat. And Clancy just starts, and again, this is sort of what's to come. He starts like letting himself open to this because that's what he needs at this moment. He needs to be told, like, hey, if you just like release all of this, you're gonna be happy and you're gonna be like a meditation master just like me, and life will be good. Like that seems like the easy way, and he's buying like what this person is selling. And I thought that was like a really interesting way to sort of display that, because even at times I was like, yeah, this is kind of meditation, and I was like, wait, what's going on?
No, I liked that one a lot. That's the episode where he kind of talks about how he realizes his life sucks and is really boring too, and he's trying to fix that. There were just a lot of like identifiable little moments. Did y'all like the second to last episode? It's the one where he interviews Death.
Yeah.
Okay,
I liked it a bit. Yeah.
That one really stuck out to me because I don't know why. I just thought it was so interesting to talk about all these financial reasons for the death industry to work the way that it does.
Yeah.
And it was such a strange, like sobering conversation in the middle of all these more kind of like intense, more abstract conversations. But I just like that a lot. And I like the cartoon that went with it. This show reminds me a lot of, have y'all ever seen, the animation at least reminds me almost of a show called Super Jail. Have y'all ever heard of that?
Oh, I've heard of it.
Okay.
I have not.
Well, it's just like kind of this like beautiful stoner animation is how I would describe it, but that takes place in like it's just a jail, and every episode is just kind of nonstop chaos for, you know, like 15 straight minutes.
Pictures.
Yeah,
Adult Swim stuff.
Yeah, and the animation sometimes and just how it just flowed nonstop for the whole time, like reminds me kind of a show like that. I was really impressed.
Yeah, that's the one thing. This show, I love the flow and movement in every episode.
Mm-hmm.
Like the first 4 episodes, it's always a journey across the whole land. And like you're saying, it's just great world building. There's this underwater city they go to in episode 3 at the beginning. Then suddenly he needs to buy a hand that can blast through ice so he can get to this giant guy that creates things. It's just so creative and detailed. And like every episode is something interesting. The first one has the zombie thing. I think that's actually interesting that the zombies ended up being like enlightenment or something. Like it was actually just good to be a zombie. And then in the second one, I just love the moment where they make they finally make some weird meat body, which still trying to figure that one out, but they play a great rock song with it, and then there's this cool action scene with like rebels or something. I don't get all of it, but like putting it together is so fun, and there's just so much details to look at, especially on a second run through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like I could watch this, like you were saying about how each stands on its own. I feel like I could watch this without the sound on and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Notice things I don't normally notice.
For sure. Yeah, there's a ton of like background stuff too. Notably, I don't know if you guys missed it. Sorry. But there's a butt plug that gets pulled out of an insect. And again, it's just one of those weird things where like I missed it, and I was watching it with my girlfriend, and she said, "Wait, did you see that?" I was like, "What do you mean?" And there's like 6 things going on screen, so you don't necessarily notice some of this stuff. I'm
pretty sure you guys didn't miss it, but I was just watching episode 4 again earlier, and at one point they just show a guy digging a grave, and then he like digs up a patch of dirt, and a penis pops out, and that's like the only thing we ever see about that.
See, no, I didn't see that.
You didn't see that? And then he ends up getting destroyed at the end, but it's like, what was
that? There's a lot of penis stuff. His avatar, when he was going to go, it's like episode 4, his avatar had like 12 dicks on it.
Yes, and 10 balls.
There you go.
I just thought it was. I was very worried because I was like, "Are we getting an orgy episode? Is that
Yeah,
how
I
that
thought
happened?"
that's where it was going.
Oh man. But bringing it back, the last episode, I believe it's a little bit longer than the rest of them. I really dug this, and I'm sure you guys are in a similar boat. I legitimately think like this is like I can't say this for a fact, but like if you set out to make an idea like this, I feel like the last episode is what you're building towards, which is again really good world building on their part to know like, hey, here's where we're gonna finish out with, and I just feel like. Oh, I think something like this could very easily come off as, oh God, this is so like trying to be deep or trying to be preachy or anything like that. But it feels like such an organic conversation of just two human beings, like sort of trying to sort out life. And it really excels with what this series sought out to do.
Yeah. The rapid aging, death and birth, like the planet thing. It just all looks so cool. It all works just thematically, even if, like, I guess you could say it's trying too hard, but it just works.
Well, no,
so well.
Even something goofy like Clancy giving birth. I was like, yeah, you birthed that baby, Clancy. Like,
but I didn't even mind. Like, I do think it could be accused of trying too hard, but because of the sincerity Hay was talking about, like, I think it comes off as it's just more endearing than it is annoying. So, yeah, the last episode got to me. I really enjoyed it quite a bit.
I think part of that is because they sort of set up like a lot of these. Again, Evan sort of mentioned it. The first 4 episodes are just like a journey across the land, a cool, fun adventure. The Annihilation of Joy one is just like a repetitive cycle, almost like Groundhog Day like. Then the third to last episode is almost like, oh hey, here's what like a fake warm hug is like. And then second to last episode is almost like, okay, well, let's just have a conversation and be humans. And then the last episode is, okay, we'll have a conversation and be humans, but also like I'm going to comfort you. Like it's a mother's comfort of an episode. And I think part of that is the background characters being basically Care Bears. I don't know. I think all of it really works really well together.
I agree.
Yeah, agreed. Very, very good
show. All right. I think that'll wrap it up. Do you guys have any closing thoughts?
No, watch it. It's a good show.
Watch it again if you're in the spoiler section.
I hope we get more 2D animation this exciting, or creative at least.
Oh yeah,
we will get the regular show.
Yeah, the regular show follow-up that never was.
Maybe that'll get on Netflix.
And yeah, I recommend Super Jail to people. There you go.
Yeah, I kind of want to check it out now.
Sure, yeah.
That's going to do it for this review and spoiler section of Midnight Gospel. Feel free to throw any thoughts down below. I'd love to talk about and sort of see where everybody else sort of fell on this, especially like the Adventure Time fans, because this is a little bit of a departure for that team. But thank you guys for checking this out. And of course, thank you, Todd. Thank you, Evan.
Thank you.